Okay, for lesson 13, we're going to go over inserting images, text boxes, shapes, objects, modifying text, and accessibility. So we should have these files downloaded. We're going to open a blank workbook, go to the Insert tab on the ribbon, click Pictures, not online pictures, just pictures. And you guys will go to your Downloads folder, but we want to insert the Happy Kids photo. And once we have that in, it is an object, we can tell, because it has all of the circles around the outside. That's how we know it's an object. So all of our charts are objects. When we get shapes, those will be objects. So that's one way to insert. Let's open a new tab down at the bottom. So we have a new sheet. So I just click that plus and we have a new sheet. Now we're going to go to Insert Online Pictures. And let's search for fall. And if you click one, it will put that checkbox, a check inside of it, and hit Insert. Takes a second, and of course the one that I chose it did not like. And now my Excel is frozen. Right on. Okay, apparently. There. So they're just the same. The one thing that you can do when you search for online pictures is add clip art. So you could just add the word clip art to the end of any picture, and then you would have clip art images and not actual images. The one thing with editing our size for images, we have this bottom right corner, any of the corners actually. When you drag that, the picture will stay with the proper proportions for height and width, versus if I drag a side, it's going to skew it, or if I drag a top or bottom, it's going to skew it. So if you want it to stay proportionate, you use a corner when you resize it. Okay, let's add another sheet. Go to the Insert tab, and in the same group, Illustrations, is Shapes. And just go ahead and pick whichever one you want. Just pick a shape. Your mouse will turn to a black crosshairs, and then all you have to do is click, hold, and drag, and you will insert a shape. So as you can see, however I move my mouse is kind of how it's going to create my shape. The other thing to note if I'm inserting a shape is that if I hold Shift, it keeps it proportionate. It can't get all skewed like this one that I made the first time that's kind of short and fat. If you hold Shift when you drag to make it bigger, when you insert, it will keep that shape proportionate. With shapes, they work the same way as our images. They're all objects. They have those dots around the outside, so you'll be able to resize them. Remember, corners will keep it proportionate to wherever it's at. Actually, they won't. You have to hold Shift for that. So you have shapes and pictures. If I want to add some text to a shape, I'm just going to right click on it, hit edit text, and then we can just type inside of our shape. Next thing is word art. So this is best for like if you have a heading at the top of a sheet or the title of a chart. But we're going to go to the Insert tab on the ribbon, and at the far right in the text group there's an A button. That's word art. Pick any of them, and then we can always edit them after, but if there's one there that you like, just click on it and it'll make a new object and a text box. And we know it's an object because it has the dots around the outside. It's editable. So if I have my box selected and my text selected, I can come up just the same as for shapes, and for word art we'll have the text option. But we can change the shape fill, so I can put a color inside of the box and change the outline. I could change the outline weight to be a little bit thicker. Any effects, I could put a glow around it. Or I can change my word art to have a different fill color and a different outline. And then any effects that I wanted to add. Then we have some word art. The thing with all our effects is they're all named very specifically, so if you see on an assignment or in geometrics or on certification, add a reflection, you have that, and then it just tells you the name, you have to hover over it, and whatever the name is. Same for shape effects, add a glow or add a bevel, and you just got to find whatever the name that they asked you to insert. Let's pick our first shape, and instead of customizing a style, just choose one of the presets that they had. They have all the preset styles there. And once again, these are all named specifically, so we have theme styles and then presets, and then they're all ordered off color, so black, blue, accent 1, etc., etc. Now let's say I want these two to be moved together, and I like this to be like right here. We'll say that. For them to be together, we have to select them. So I click one, and then I'm going to hold shift and click the other shape. So now, as you can see, they're both selected. There's two ways to group them. We can right click, or up here in the arrange, we have the group button. And then you just choose group, and it becomes one large object. So now when I click here, they're both selected, and when I move the object around, it moves both of them around together. Now, if I don't like how it's set up, like say I want my name down here to be a little higher, I can click it specifically and change it. So now it looks a little different. The other thing with grouping, what if I don't like that my name is on top of the shape? I want the shape to be on top of my name. So I'll just click the text box for my word art. We'll go to Drawing Tools Format tab, and in the Arrange group you see Bring Forward and Send Backwards. So right now my name is on top of the shape, so I need to send it backward to put the shape in front of it. Or if it was already like this, I could click my name, click Bring Forward, and then it comes in front of the shape. So those two buttons are how, if you are grouping shapes or any other objects, how you can figure out which is being seen more than the other one. I need to get our Happy Kids photo. You guys can go back to sheet 1 where we have the picture of the kids. So we're going to make some edits to this photo. So when our photo is open, you should see Picture Tools Format tab on the ribbon. And at the far left, we see Corrections. So we can either sharpen or soften and then change some brightness of the image. So right now we are at Sharpen 0. Let's go all the way to the right and choose Sharpen 50%. Some other things we can do, we can change the color of the entire image. So I can just make it completely no saturation or extremely bright. So if we click saturation 400%, it really makes all the colors pop. Color tone just kind of changes the temperature of it. I'm really not a fan of that, but it is something that you could get asked to do on a geometrics and or the certification, but they're just specifically named here. Or the bottom option, recolor, it just adds a hue of whatever color over top of the image. So if I choose this blue one, the whole picture is blue. Some artistic effects, just kind of makes it look a little different. This one makes it like cubey. They have one that looks like it's been painted with a pastel. There's other ones that look like pencil sketch. There we go. So those are what our artistic effects are. If we wanted to have our image an exact size versus just dragging it to where we think is good, at the far right of Picture Tools Format tab is our size group. So let's get it exactly 4 inches high. And then let's crop off one of the kids. So whichever one you want to crop one of them out. And then after you've done that, you just drag that black box from the side and when you're ready, you hit enter. It'll let me here. There it goes. And then we have a new image. And it's exactly 4 inches high like we asked. The last few things this also applies to shapes is I can click this rotate at the top and rotate the image around. I can also click rotate here so I can go 90 degrees at a time. Or if I want this kid to face the other way, I can go to rotate and click flip horizontal, and it flips the image over the other way. Let's right click on our image, and we're going to go down to size and properties, and it will open up a dialog box on our right. So let's say I accidentally rotated this too much and I want it to be exactly something. Here for rotation, I can type in 45 and it'll rotate exactly 45 degrees versus me trying to, turn it myself perfectly. So that's all of our size. The aspect ratio, that means when I drag a corner that it stays locked. If I uncheck that, it will no longer stay proportionate when I resize. We could hit reset, which will reset back to normal anything I've cropped. Other properties, you can see we don't need a text box for it because we don't have one, or any alternative text if you wanted to add a title of the picture and describe it. The next one is, we see the little pentagon up there. That's just for our effects, which we already have on the ribbon. We don't need to fill color on it. So we can close that. Next thing, make sure our picture is selected. Be on Picture Tools Format tab, and in the Adjust group, click Reset Picture. And it puts it back to normal. All right, a couple more things. Let's add a new sheet. And just as a refresher, how do I rename a sheet? Yeah, I'm just going to double click on it. So let's rename this sheet Smart Art. Because that's what we're about to insert. So my sheet's named Smart Art. Remember, I can drag it around to be in different spots for my sheet order there. But we'll go to Insert tab on the ribbon. And also in the Illustrations group is Smart Art. Now I think your guys' screen's a little bit bigger. You'll be able to see it. My button was kind of tiny. And let's go to the Hierarchy tab on the left. And we'll click that top right one. It's a half circle organization chart. If you double click, it will insert it, or you can click and then go down to the bottom and press OK. Now these are all text boxes. We can also click up in the Create Graphic group and add our text pane. But at the top, let's just type President, and it will adjust the size of the text to fit into the box. Just offset of the president, we'll call that their assistant. And the bottom three will be CEO, CFO, and COO. So the Chief Executive Officer, the Chief Financial Officer, and the Chief Operational Officer. So as with any other object, All of this can be customized. We see other layouts up here that we could change to by default. We can change the colors of this specific one that we made. Or I can go to format and do much more on my own. So we could add an entire shape fill. I can change all the lines. We can make it word art. And then, just like everything else, the exact height and width, whatever we want it to be. Last thing, well, there's two things actually. Go back to our first sheet with our image of the kids. Now, if I wanted to delete, what would I do? What was that? I can right click and cut. I can click on it and just press backspace. Same goes for our other options. I can click on my shape here, press backspace. This grouped one, if I press backspace, it'll delete both of them. And same for Smart Art. I just click on it, backspace will delete it. Can always press Control Z and bring it back if you happen to accidentally do that. Let's go to File. And you should see Inspect Workbook there, and then Check for Issues. Click Check for Issues and choose Check Accessibility. Check the workbook for content that people with disabilities might find difficult to read. So one of the warnings is that we have not changed the name of our sheets. So we just left it by default. So that's one issue that they found. And that's it. So the other things it'll search for if you have misspellings that you definitely need to fix, or words that are not typed out properly. There's a lot of things that this will find. Just like it said, it finds ways that could be difficult for some people to read through. And that is lesson 13.